Hi everyone, welcome to Tanya and Tianna English.
In this video, we have several English idioms with nature to help you sound more like a native. An idiom is a phrase in a language that is commonly used, but it isn't translated literally. So in other words, you could translate it word for word, but it doesn't mean exactly what that translation is. So let's get started. Tianna and I thought it might be nice if we filmed this video outdoors. We are, after all, talking about nature. So while we're out here in nature, you might hear a bird, or you might hear a little bit of the wind. You might even hear some people. Do you want to improve your English? Listen to each of these idioms and think about which one is your favorite. I'm going to ask you a little bit more about that one in just a little bit.
So the first idiom I wanted to share with you today is out of the woods. Out of the woods. Right now I'm in the woods. But this idiom means to be safe. If you're out of the woods, then you're safe. Usually it is used in a medical context. So if you're sick, and maybe it's a little dangerous to your health, if the doctor says, "Oh, we're out of the woods," then that means you're out of the worst part. A similar idiom is we're in the clear, which is good, yay! If you're in the clear, then you're safe, the worst is over, and it's all good. This idiom does make me think of a Taylor Swift song where she repeats this a lot. So I'll link that down below.
My first idiom is the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg is a phrase that we use when we want to talk about just a little bit of something that's big. So if you think of an iceberg, it's a huge chunk of ice floating in the ocean, but only a little bit of this huge chunk of ice can be seen above the water. The rest of the iceberg is under the water and you can't see it. So that's kind of where this idiom comes from. An example could be, he was telling me all about his travels in Europe, but we didn't have much time, and he only was able to tell me the tip of the iceberg. So he was only able to tell me a little bit about his trip.
The next idiom I have to share with you today is one of my favorites. I love teaching this idiom, and it is every cloud has a silver lining, which just means that even though there might be bad things going on, maybe it's kind of difficult, there's always something good to be found, even when it's difficult. You can imagine a cloud that blocks the sun, and you can see like a silver lining around it. It's really beautiful. So that's one of my favorite idioms because it's pretty positive.
To nip it in the bud is another idiom that uses a word from nature. In this case, the word is bud. A bud is when, actually before a flower blooms, it's in the bud, and then once it blooms, it opens up. But if you were to nip the bud, the flower would not bloom. So we use this idiom when we're talking about something we want to avoid or something that we want to stop before it gets started, something that we want to make sure it doesn't go too far. As an example, let's say you were talking to a friend and you said something like, "I've really been staying up late for the last couple of nights, but I really need to nip that in the bud." In other words, you don't want to get into the habit of staying up too late, so you need to stop this before you start doing it too often.
So the next idiom is late bloomer. You can imagine a flower that doesn't open up till late in the season. Maybe all of the other flowers have bloomed. And usually this idiom refers to a person who is like one of those flowers. Someone who maybe takes a little longer to grow. But in the movie Mulan, which is one of my favorite Disney movies, the dad says to Mulan that the late bloomers are some of the most beautiful flowers. So I kind of also like that idiom too because of that movie.
To make a mountain out of a molehill is another common idiom that we use here in the United States, and it's appropriate for me today since I'm here in the mountains. And what we mean by that is when somebody makes a big deal out of something that is actually not a big deal. When somebody acts like something is really awful or really terrible, when maybe it was just a little thing, maybe it wasn't so great, but it wasn't a really horrible thing. An example could be, it's a bummer that our plans changed today, but let's not make a mountain out of a molehill.
This next idiom that I have to share with you all is about nature, but it's also about animals. So if you haven't seen our video series with idioms with animals, then go check it out. I'll link it up above. All right, so this idiom is to bark up the wrong tree. So this means to put your energy into something, or maybe to accuse someone of something, and you're wrong. You should be putting your energy into something else. You might hear this used in like a detective show when someone gets accused of a crime, but they say, "You're barking up the wrong tree," which means that I didn't do it. There's someone else that did it.
Okay, which of these was your favorite idiom? Write it in the comments below. And if you really want to practice your English, see if you can think about a time when you might use this idiom. What kind of situation would you use your favorite idiom in? Write that in the comments as well.
We hope these idioms were helpful for you. It was certainly fun to film outside today. It's a little change of pace.
If you'd like to see more videos like this one, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking on the red subscribe button. If you click on the little bell next to it, you'll get notifications so you don't miss any of our English classes. We upload English classes every Saturday. And if you know someone who's learning English and would enjoy this video, be sure to share it with them. You can do that by clicking on the share button, and it will give you several options. We're looking forward to seeing you in the next lesson. Talk to you then. Bye.